There's supposed to be some election integrity conversation at the legislature today. They're convenient.
They sent
I
out
caught
an
that
email
late
on
last night. Yeah.
that. They invite us to all those hearings and stuff.
All right, you guys should be live.
Guys, a minute of my time.
Okay, good morning. Welcome to the September 28th meeting of the Board of Riley County Commissioners. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I have any public comment this morning? Seeing none, we'll go to commission comment. So the Commissioner McKinley.
Monday after our meeting, I attended the intergovernmental lunch. The presentation.
Up on the screen.
The presentation was from the Fairgrounds Task Force, and they covered what we had heard last week. And the city seemed surprised to know that we didn't know all along what their plans were. And then we also learned K-State's going to be hosting next year at the Union. After lunch, I met with Kristen at Moran's office about some items going forward. Monday evening, attended the freshman and junior varsity football games between Manhattan and Washington Rural.
Oh, cool.
Watching from the visitor seats because my nephew's stepsons both play for Washington Rural.
No, their JV seemed as good as their varsity.
Their Manhattan has a running back JV that should be on the varsity. That guy was just ran over people. I don't know who. I didn't get a roster to see who it was, but they got a running back on the JV. I don't know why he's on JV. I must have somebody else good on high.
They do.
Because this guy was amazing. He could run over people. Also, we learned the visitor seating is on the east side in the sun. It gets warm. Tuesday evening was Riley City Council meeting. Kind of a short meeting, not too much getting. One of the things discussed was problems they were having with someone driving a Mustang convertible, not a blue one. One of the councilmen said they need to be leery of anybody that drives a Mustang convertible.
Guess you're not invited back there.
Actually, yeah, my wife is the one who made that comment.
Oh. Maybe you're not going to be invited back.
She would know better than anyone.
Oh, yeah, they had, I was the butt of a good deal of humor there. Wednesday, we had an update meeting with VHS and the architects about the new EMS building. And David Adams said he's working on an update on everything next week, but preliminary estimates are staying within our budget. So that's always good.
October 13th for the ribbon cutting. Almost said groundbreaking.
14.
Then after that meeting, I met with Michael Bowler, discussing some questions because Riley had some questions about hazardous waste disposal. Allison, so I kind of got thinking. I found out the answers I gave him was correct. I thought the one was right, but I decided to check. And then just kind of spent some time talking about a lot of things going on in this department, how things are going well there, I think. So, and that's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Ford.
You attended that intergovernmental luncheon on Monday as well. And very good discussion and dialogue afterwards. I'm of the opinion that particular conversation is going to have to continue in some kind of capacity. There's just no working around it, but we'll talk about it later. There was also a couple other things. Did mention K-State next year. We'll be hosting at the Union. That'll be interesting. We'll have over the lunch hour on Monday. Walk around the Union.
Yeah.
That'll bring back some memories.
Well, finding parking.
If you can find
That's
parking
true too, yeah.
I don't know about the parking garages. Probably.
My guess is they'll probably have them loop off someplace down on one of the lower mezzanines there or something. Have that available for us would be my guess. They also discussed the mental health assessment summit that's going to be on October 10th as well. Robin Cole gave an update. on that, as well as the one that we just had here recently as well. And that pretty much summed up that one. Tuesday afternoon, I attended via Zoom the September Board of Directors meeting for Pawnee Mental Health. Some of the I hadn't actually met since July because of events and everything else that was going on. I started off with the Finance Committee meeting, which I sit on. We went through the July and August financials with their transition from, I still can't get this right, CCBHC. Yeah, it's one of those acronyms. I'll get it eventually. Everything's new, including the finances for it, just so you're aware. But everything seems to be holding up at this point in time, and they've got a pretty consistent plan on how to move things out forward. In the actual board meeting, we heard from Colleen O'Connell, who gave an update on school-based services that are being provided. George Macco, who's their HR person, to do their recent employee engagement satisfaction survey. Robin gave her usual chief executive's officer's report with a specific discussion on their strategic plan in the area number 3. I don't need another email to pop up while I'm trying to talk. Thank you. And they've got something new that they're putting out in terms of marketing, which is Pawnee Pulse. It's going to be an e-newsletter, keeping up with events and things that are going on, particularly since things are moving so fast. So if you'd like to get on that and have that emailed to you, get with Robin or Di Hendricks, and they should be able to get you on that list. Look pretty cool. We've really got it set up pretty nice. We went through the fiscal year 23 annual report. As you may or may not be aware, Pawnee's transitioning to a new logo. I think you can get on the website and look at it. It may be up by now. Really cool. Did a real good job going through that process and getting it narrowed down to the one that it is. Obviously, when you do those sort of things, it takes a little bit of time to go through and rebrand everything and get everybody's memory kind of attached to it. So we'll have the work cut out for them there. And then also remember Driving the Dream event on October 12th. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to be able to go. I've missed the last 2, even though I was going to make plans on going and had the tickets to go. But 2 years ago, I got COVID. And then last year, my grandmother passed away. So I had to make that emergency trip. So I'm hoping the 3rd time's a charm, maybe. But I'm coming back from DC, so I'm skeptical. Let's see, what else did I talk about? We're going to start going through at least the executive committee, drafting some policy changes and manual changes to that. They're hoping to have it done in December. I don't know. I think that's overly optimistic, but we'll see. And really, that was just about it on that one. Wednesday, listening on the Council of Foreign Affairs State and Local Officials webinar. That was also via Zoom. This one was titled Nuclear Fission and the Future of Energy. We all keep talking about EV and coal and everything else. So this was kind of the opposite of that. I thought would be kind of interesting to watch or listen to, I guess. Kim Bedell, who's the director of Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in California, that's another long acronym, discussed the recent achievements of net energy gain from nuclear fission and the reaction from that, and then the implications it could have on global energy. Ton of possibilities. Holy cow, ton of possibilities. Carolyn Kassane, who's the Associate Dean and Clinical Professor at the Center for Global Affairs at NYU, moderated the discussion. And there was a live question and answer session that followed. And I did listen into that because I was doing some other things at work and I just needed to get back to it. Attended Good Morning Manhattan this morning, hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. Eric Reed, new superintendent for USD 383, spoke, gave a pretty good speech. Tara Clausen also mentioned next week's annual kickoff campaign for United Way. I've already registered, and that's why we're moving up next Thursday's meeting. I've already registered, so I will certainly be there. I just think it's important that at least one of us is there since we have an employee campaign in February, which will be our 3rd year this year for that. And the chamber just kind of updated us on a few other things that they're working on, including leadership Manhattan. And just lastly, I wanted to mention just a couple of quick things here. The Kansas Reflector wrote a pretty good article on Monday on the LABTR Fund. Included dialogue from Louis Chadley, who's our executive director at KAC, and Miami County Commissioner Rob Roberts, who I'm sure Shelley knows pretty well. The article really laid out the challenges counties and local units of governments are facing without it and not being able to reduce property tax to the citizens on top of it direct. It's going to be a battle, I think, here in 2024 on this. And I can't tell you how that's going to end up. And speaking of KAC, the Legislative Policy Committee meeting was yesterday. They have agreed to support our SB 162, the public nuisance abatement and incorporated area. And of course, the reinstatement of the aforementioned LABTR fund. Interestingly, they did table the SCR 1611.
I was wondering about that.
It's not dead, I don't think. They're going to bring it back up, I think, next month for discussion. Ultimately, I may drag out to December when we have the annual meeting.
What is that one?
That's the
4% limit.
Oh, the 4%. Okay.
and I don't get the indication it's like a 50-50 continue. I don't know if you were on that call where you show it. No.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's a handful of maybe a couple of the larger counties or something that are being kind of pushed to go that direction for whatever particular reason, but they tabled it. So I just thought that was interesting. And for me, that's about all I got to see.
Okay. Okay, well, Monday I attended the intergovernmental luncheon too, and the two of you covered it pretty well. So, but afterwards, I spent some time with Representative Sidney Carlin. We talked about Keats and a few other topics. She did give me the number for contacting Topeka, who's in charge of grants. I left a message. I haven't heard back yet, so let's keep working on it. On Wednesday, I spent some time in the office going over paperwork for today's meeting, and I got a new chair, which was great. And I did follow up on phone calls, emails, and then I studied the state appraisal information maps that Rich sent us. That's really interesting to look how overall the property taxes, we're not that far out of line from the rest of the state. And I'm sure they're all having issues. I did study the layout of Seco Park on the county GIS site after the presentation on Monday, and seems to me that out of 89.5 acres in the park, we should be able to come up with something that's good for everybody. Raleigh County actually owns 54.53 acres in the park. The city 15.7 and USD 383 is 19. So, we have a lot to discuss. And, I hope that city got a wake up call that we need to be included in those discussions. Okay, I'm trying to be positive today, guys. Okay, that's my focus today and going forward. Let's see. Yesterday evening, I attended bell choir practice at the church. Didn't get home till late, but anyway, this morning I went to Good Morning Manhattan breakfast presentation by Eric Reed. He did take a lot of questions. People asked how the ninth graders were doing assimilating into the big school. He said everything was going very well. So, and that it's just the traffic concerns in the morning are kind of tough. And, how they're moving different. The administration building now is going to have, or will have, special programs in it, or, like counseling, those kinds of things in that building. So it was a good presentation. He took some good questions. So that's about all I have. So.
No business, commissioners. Are there any changes to the minutes?
We have no business.
No business.
Yeah,
That just means we'll have a lot more on Monday.
yeah, that's true.
A couple action items later.
There's no changes to the minutes, then I'll make a motion that we approve those minutes as written in the September 25th meeting of the Riley County Commission.
Second.
As moved and seconded to approve the minutes from September 25th as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now the tentative agendas, the commissioners. Got a full press conference.
And can you stop? You got a question for just a second?
Didn't take you long to get in trouble. Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners? Okay, next we'll have Mr. Wilkerson at 9:20.
We have second.
Map, they just had a map. I just wanted to that here.
Evaluation of the trend range. Evaluation of the total increase.
Well, they had all maps, they had agricultural, they had utilities, they had commercial stuff. And so. But I'll do it to you, they sent it to Lori and Joe, we had an abstract class, and I said, hey, I sent her an email, I said, it'd be nice if we got those, he said, well, we're only sending those attended class, so I didn't, I got it, so I'll get it.
So you have to put on residential. Well, then these 13%. Almost a year ago. And so that was something.
Lori there? Or Joe there, either one. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Lori, it's Rich. Those maps that you and Joe sent me, if you would send those to Anna, we're talking about them. So that way she can look at them. Thanks a lot. Bye. Yeah, I don't got those maps for people that are attending a PVD abstract class, and two of my staff went to that. And so I hadn't even gotten them. And they sent them to me. I was like, I sent the director an email. I said, it'd be nice if I got those. And he says, well, would eventually, but we're just sending them to those that went to the abstract class. So that's why I hadn't even gotten it. So
I sent you an email on that, actually.
Saw that.
Yeah.
Saw that. Oh, that was pretty interesting math.
Yeah, I did too.
What did you see? Some of the percentage increases of some of those counties?
I thought Cherokee.
I thought our that was high.
Actually, having your home value go up 20+% 1 year.
Cherokee County's not one of the worst.
Well, statistically, it's kind of considered in the Joplin metro area. So I don't know what's going on down there, but.
They've had some issues over the years, I know that. County attorneys removed.
Yeah. I was tired of it.
Of course.
Good, how you doing, Rich?
So what,
Okay.
when I brought my laptop up last, what was updated on it? I must have missed.
We just replaced it.
Well, I brought it up to Chris about a month or so ago.
Yeah, if we're in here.
I had a small window where I was actually down here and,
Oh, did you get the new version of Windows?
well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I thought maybe I
Because I
did.
didn't click on that
Exactly about
either,
what
Corey.
happened a month ago. I used to do is they updated my Windows.
I haven't either.
Yeah, you got Windows 11 when you started.
No, it's not.
No, it did, I could tell.
No, I'll try to bring it up tomorrow. I'll be kind of, how long is it gonna take?
Hour, 2
Oh,
hours.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you resend me that link for the OneDrive? Okay. I'll try to.
Yeah, I didn't do that either. I'm afraid I'll mess it up.
Just in the midst of everything, it wasn't, the whole thing wasn't connected.
You don't mess anything up. You'll be fine.
And if you do, it's a.
Oh, believe me, I know.
Well, it can be messed up on that stuff.
Those maps you sent.
Those are interesting, weren't
They
they?
are interesting.
What Jen's sister had been screaming about her. In Miami County, the residential was 21%.
Saw that.
That big tree above it. Yeah.
Saw that.
That's why, that taco crazy is gonna go on my soul.
That's why it's hitting Saran. Like you said, Johnson wine and Wyandotte was 20.5.
Yeah, well, they're higher than we, of course, they got a lot more people.
Thought you guys might enjoy those maps.
Yeah.
I don't know if joy is necessarily the word, but
Well, it's good to know.
It's informative, for sure, yeah.
It's not just us.
Yeah.
It's getting.
Ready for Barry,
Yes.
commissioners?
Morning. Okay, Commissioners McKinley and Ford. It's been not that short of work and not bored, I can assure you. We had some trials in the last month. I know that there was a week that you were without the clerk because he was serving on the jury, Mr. Lindsay's jury that resulted in a conviction, I believe, on 7 of the 8 counts, attempted murder being the most significant for the shooting that the gentleman tried to kill someone. But then Mr. Montgomery, Mr. Muth tried that case, and he tried Tremel Montgomery for a murder that occurred down in Aggieville, resulting in kind of a confrontation outside a bar. But it certainly premeditated. He went back to his vehicle, got a gun, and then shot someone and tried to shoot 2 others before he was apprehended. But so we had that going on in the last month, and again, Mr. Wood was able to obtain a conviction on that. Aaron Zachary, a plea or a sentencing last week didn't go quite the way we wanted it to, but we still got a 25 to life sentence. We were seeking 50 to life, child sex offender, just because the likelihood that those individuals will reoffend. I certainly stand by Mr. Moose's position to go for 50 years to life, because I'm afraid of what's going to happen when that individual gets out. So, but we do what we can. Other things that are going on in the office, we are going to a new case management system. Corey Meyer's been involved in that now for a couple of years. First we were going to go to Odyssey. That really wasn't going well. It was expensive, and we were going to get their stop. But then we switched to Carpel, which was a different product. Commission's aware that was certainly, I think it's going to be more user friendly and money wise. It just made more sense for our office and for the county and for the taxpayers, both in the short term and long term. So we'll be transitioning to that system here shortly. That case management system, our old system, full court and full case, that will be going away. And so it was something that needed to be done. And this is the month that it will be taking place. And so if you have difficulty, please, let me know. We're trying to work through all of the kinks that I'm sure will be in the system, but that's what my staff will be busy doing, is converting for the next month. A couple other things that we have going on. The hospital does have a same program and has had for some time, but the Flint Hill Sexual Assault Task Force is meeting again. That involves the hospital, their SANE nurses. Our health department is involved on this task force, as well as a crisis center, Raleigh County Police Department, our office, and hopefully we'll have K-State Police Department on board as well. But just all those entities that are involved in responding to sexual assaults. But the hospital is on, has the same program up and running well, and so we really commend them on that. I'm also involved not only in that task force, but there's a statewide task force on sexual assault, developing both model policies and legislation. And I'm involved on that as well. Hopefully that we'll wind that down the next couple of years, but that's still ongoing. Fentanyl, everybody's been reading about fentanyl and the devastating impacts fentanyl is having. It's, the one pill can kill campaigns, some of the other things that are going on out there. We've certainly 18 months ago, at that time we had 13 youths that had overdosed. None of them had died because of Narcan, but certainly that's fentanyl is alive and well in Riley County, unfortunately. One pill can be a lethal dose, and it's can be hidden in dirty 30s, Percocets, whatever. We'll find fentanyl, or law enforcement's found fentanyl in it. But Julie Gibbs from the health department started a task force. We're involved in that as well as Riley County, Gary County, and Potawatomi County. I think you're all aware of that, but hopefully, part of it is, responding to what's going on, trying to make sure we punish people that are selling. It is poison. That's the only way to describe it. It's just a poison. But law enforcement's response to it, but also just trying to educate, parents and students. This isn't anything that you can experiment with and outgrow it. It's something that you experiment with it, you may never grow it. It may be it. So, it's just one of those things people need to be aware of, that it is here in our community. And, if you're, suspect your child, may come in contact with it, parents really need to be sitting down with their children and whoever else and educating them on how dangerous this is, because it really is a dangerous substance, and it doesn't appear to be at this time to be slowing down its entry into this country. So we'll try to continue to assist Julie in any way we can in that task force. So yeah, then Mr. Muth has been involved after the Tramell Montgomery case. There's been some people reaching out regarding firearms in Aggieville, and so we are going to try to work with some citizens who are concerned about firearms being in Aggieville, and what maybe we can do to try to help stop it, I guess. That's all I have. Kind of just rambled through that really quick, but does anybody have any questions? I'm certainly be glad to answer any questions or entertain any comments. And my door's always open. My phone's always on, so please feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Barry. Appreciate it.
Actually, Sarah, can I chat with you just a second?
Next Commissioner Graymeyer at 9:35.
This was on the page last night.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I didn't quite, that's their circulation numbers. I couldn't read it very well.
Because now the mail stuff out. I noticed it's been in magazines. I had some other things that we got. And mail the post office requires them. And it's the whole thing that lets you do the owners and everything.
Yeah. I didn't.
Then actual and it's
Circulation.
It says total paid average for the last 12 months is 3,300. Most recent ones like 31. So, yeah, I mean,
It's really dropped.
I tried to blow it up off of the
Yeah,
thing, but it wasn't well. It wasn't clear. I was trying to.
So does that count? I wonder if that counts the number that are in the newsstands and buy.
That's what it isn't clear if you look at that. The second one, the top line is outside of the county paid subscriptions. The next one is in county paid, and then it says the night it's paid distribution outside the mail.
So that maybe that's.
And then down here, then there's 600 online.
It's not very many. But how many people?
Yeah.
It's not even.
Well, figure how many people out in Pot County we want to think about. It's just, yeah, it's,
So there's nothing like Park County, but
well, that's, well, it's,
once
they
a
did the stuff about, the commissioner who messed up her thing.
The reimbursement.
Yeah,
about the,
yeah, but she said, I just messed up. And I told her, but
yeah, that's not even 1% of the population. It's really sad.
well, I was thinking, even if it's the household, so there's 3 people on each one of those, still there, not there. 80% of the population.
For sure.
Well, when they went to mail delivery, my mail might come 5 o'clock at night or, the next day, or I don't know.
Right.
And so
How
I
you doing?
get it. It's not
Well,
timely.
All right.
See, I've had, that's why we took it on my equipment. I mean, I just because the main ones on Saturdays, to get it to Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not, I started just buying the newsstand. And then a lot of times I forget, but I always buy it Thursdays. Forget all the words.
Saturday, yes, some of the, several things that I forgot. I was into it on Sunday, that's what I was. Like a spread of all.
Yeah, well, they used to have a sports calendar in there, what channels all these games were on. So I don't know. You look up the games and what else.
Oh, yes.
So I miss that, and I miss the sports, these local news.
Well, like, Tim Edwards, one was a sports guy. He's a American guy. And I think he does. They don't print on Sundays. Saturday papers print on Friday night. So you see it's game, his game. They come out on Tuesday.
Or the old news.
They used to hold the press on Saturday all day.
Oh, yeah. Sunday, Saturday, 2 in the morning, I better release the print.
Well, we'll get there. Fall season and thank you. It's kind of tournaments and years. That can be out.
Yeah, this praise was under some of the counties.
I would go to the county. That's way.
I have an interesting thing from this map, and what I picked out is how many of the counties have very large increases around the metro areas. Like Kansas City, Wichita, Butler County, Sumner County, Cali County, is even higher than Sedgwick County itself. Buncey County, Potawatomi County here is actually larger than ours. So when you get some of the larger population centers, the outlying counties seem to have a larger. That was the one thing I noticed.
Because people were settling outside of the area.
That's what it is.
Communities.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not even just like, Johnson County, Leavenworth County is at 15. And I think he's over 20, Miami County.
That's where
Even Cherokee County was 22 as part of the Joplin, Missouri metro area.
It's everywhere, and it's going to be a matter of. It's not just.
But it's become a state issue.
Yeah, it is a state.
Well,
That's why we should.
About I said, well, they praise it like this. I said, there's state law. They praise it for, well, what state? State law says it has to be done in distance. Oh, well, the county didn't decide that.
No.
Somebody told me, well, the county commissioners told her to bump up the numbers so they can.
No.
We don't have a say in it.
It
It's
is.
the state sets rules. They have state rules. Yes.
That's why the state's gonna come back and say, well, we're gonna set some new rules
Well,
and see how that goes.
and guess what? With the state system, it's based on actual sales. What a novel idea. That's actually what people are paying for it. So it's not a made up number.
No.
Right.
And the thing, you know, we were talking about this, people talk about, oh, this is my forever home, I'm sure. I'm sure it's my forever home.
Well, I tell you, just looking at my neighborhood over there in Northview.
But it's when.
So as we kind of shifted to the middle part of COVID or the end of COVID and out of it, there was a lot of movement. Set signs. I think a lot of people were there and moved to someplace else or
Closer to the family.
or they moved into something maybe a little bit bigger and larger and then left it open.
Mhm.
Now what I'm noticing over there aren't for sale signs and there's a whole lot of revamping, remodeling.
Yeah,
And stuff.
That's so much of that is
So
here.
I don't think you're gonna see a lot more movement.
yeah.
Would be my show based on the And now as I say that, I don't know if it would be 100% wrong.
Yes. We're done. Yeah. We did.
I think
That's a starter neighborhood. I think they, I mean, for the most part. So,
But it was just.
We're really, my neighborhood is like more military.
Yeah.
That's where it's. There's a lot of officers, families.
Ready for Corey?
All right, good morning, Commission. Good morning, Rich.
Morning.
Corey Meyer, ITGIS Director here for the staff update. We'll blaze through some things here. Some of our normal work, ESCC meetings, helping with Zoom, so forth, deeds updates, SVQs to the state, some of that normal work we've done. We did complete the Cox to WTC migration at all of our locations. Working on getting the $4,000 something credit returned back to us. Paid. That's working on that as we speak. But all of those went well. We're going to be adding another connection at the existing EMS building. Because when the construction starts for the new headquarters, we'll have to have the fiber and those connections that we have there now out of the way because that construction will take place underneath. But that's $40 or $50 a month. It's minimal, and working with WTC on that. They also tell me that progress is continuing in South County, where they will be expanding across in Riley County to provide internet services out of that grant that they were able to receive. We have been quite busy in our workstation replacement, laptop replacement / Windows 11 upgrade that will continue. In the last 2 months, we've replaced 45 desktops in the Clark Museum, EMS, emergency management. We're currently wrapping up the judges. We're replacing them. Next year's rotation will be all of district court. There's 42 machines over there that we will replace. We have replaced 15 laptops. And as I've said before, I commend and I appreciate those where we're minimizing our amount of devices. That's gone well. Brett here from Community Correction, we're going to do quite the swap. 4 laptops going in. We'll bring 8 desktops out, and those 8 desktops coming out, we'll be able to use another location. So I'm really, really thankful for the department heads and staff and working with us and all of those. I mean, 8 desktops to move somewhere else, $900 a piece, $7,200. That's efficient use of taxpayer dollars. So I really appreciate all the help and work there. Windows 11 upgrade is actually going very well. We have almost completed the RCOB building, and I say that as in all the departments in there. We're working through the registry, actually finished registry needs yesterday. So we're your appraiser and treasurer right now. They're in their testing phase to make sure all their applications gone well. As the commission would know, I just sent out asking that we get OneDrive set up and working here so we can begin to move your devices to Windows 11. So we'll move through the offices of this building next. And then to the attorney's office, and then we'll begin to move out towards health. But it's going to take months to do that. We're going to hit a period here where we'll stop for a while in doing that as we get into election time, where my staff will be helping with elections. And so then when we get towards the end of the year, we will begin to ramp up that work again. We got our storage replaced, our main storage that's used here at this campus. The names of devices always, I don't know where they come up with them, but our previous device we had for 7 years was called a Nimble. It's a storage unit that stores all of our servers, all your data and everything. The replacement of that is called Electra. But that went well with the company that we've worked with for a long time. Commend Chris on that in my office. He the device in, worked with them, transitioned everything during working hours, no downtime whatsoever. It was a very seamless process and went very well. And so he did an excellent job. We had kind of put the phone paging piece on the back burner a little bit as we need to get some other projects, but we're going to move that to the front again. I understand we're beginning to have some learning devices that are beginning to fail, so we are going to move that to the forefront. That software will, I don't want to describe a lot of what its functionality is or can do out in open meeting, just so that as we move along, we'll have some emails and some department head meetings to describe what it'll do, because how we might set it up or what we might want to do, I don't want to disclose that really to the public for security reasons, but it is something that we will be moving forward with. Budgets, I've now moved out to a 9-year projection on budget for our department because we're able to license out to 7 years on some of the equipment that we get now. So I'm making sure that when we purchase something, if that's a 7-year license, I know that I need to replace it in 7 years. So we are actually setting our budget out that far at this time. With a lot of the equipment that'll be coming in through the EMS buildings and some of the other changes, Cisco, Microsoft, they kind of changed their licensing model. Was used to just buy it and you get to use it. Now it's a license you have to renew. And if the license isn't renewed, then the device stops working because it's got to check in with their cloud licensing services. And so that's how the model works now. So we just have to stay on top of that process and how it works. Other things we've been really involved with, and I just mentioned the EMS headquarters, the Leonardville building. In fact, I've got 2 staff, Chris and Travis are up wiring today at Leonardville EMS. We've got the guys coming in to put the readers on the doors next week. Twin Valley's doing the internet installation, so we're up there with that. So we're about ready to bring that building up and test everything out. And I know that the ribbon cutting has been announced for the 14th, and we will have everything live ready to go. And I've been asked to make sure that they can move in and operate Monday the 16th, and it will be done. They will be ready. So Adabus, working with them on their building remodel as they're expanding and adding a lot of space out there in regards to offices. We replaced all of the monitors in the appraiser's office. They had a lot of old ones. They had some mixed match 17 and 19 inch. And so we upgraded all of theirs to a 22-inch monitor in there. So they have a lot more clarity. You can see things a lot better. Monitors, they'll run a long time, but I think it's one of those deals that where we don't recognize the slow fade that starts to happen. We just adjust with it. And as we going around, we notice that we're starting to have some of those. So we're going to begin a monitor replacement throughout the county as well. Barry was just here mentioning the Carpel software they're going to. We've really had to get a lot more involved in that as of late with data transfers, setting up the application on their devices and so forth. And then we're going to set up a training classroom for them when it comes training time at the end of the month. So we've been busy there. I don't have the dates on this yet, but Larson Construction will be out at the health department at some point. EMS construction, that building where it's going to go in, we have fiber that runs underneath that ditch and underneath part of the parking lot. The fiber's got to be moved and rerouted. We've already got an agreement with them. We just don't have a date set. So if you end up going by and what are we boring and what are they doing, that is planned, and I will be overseeing that as we go through. We've got to move that prior to groundbreaking for that building. So that will be taking place within this month. We met with multiple vendors in regards to audio visual upgrades here in the commission. In courtrooms and in conference rooms. We're reviewing some proposals, we're reviewing some options, what we're gonna do. One of them will be replacing this projector altogether, and an option where we will clean all these mics completely off of here, so less stuff in front of your faces and so forth. So we're really looking at cleaning this up in here. I like what I've seen so far. I have a couple options, and I think you guys will too. Election security could be talked about every time I come in with that.
That's not.
We'll just say it and we'll move on because well, I want to commend Rich's staff. I know that they were working hard and doing well, and the information they need from us, they asked clearly in their questions, and we're able to work together very well, moving their processes forward. So again, Rich, to your staff, Susan, Kirsten, everybody, I appreciate their efforts and how well they work with us.
Appreciate all your help. Appreciate all your help.
Yeah. Very important. Camera software upgrades, we're going to be doing those over the next few months. It's time to upgrade our software. We've also got an expansion of some cameras throughout the county. Door security software upgrades, along with just some of the maintenance things we need to do. And then we're going through and upgrading all of our server operating systems. We got to keep those up and starting to get into be doing that. In GIS, we are going over what we'll be doing for our 2024 flight for new imagery. And so that will be something I'll be bringing to you probably within the next week or two to discuss and to be able to get your approval to move forward with the 2024 flight. The way we can continue the process of planning, the scheduling. There won't be any pay. It's in my budget for 2024, but we'll need approval that we can move the project forward. But just to bring you the details on all of that approval. Obviously, the dollar amount is one that gets to where I do need over 20,000 to come in and ask for, but we'll ask for your approval to move forward on that 2024 project, but move forward this year. We like to get our flights done in January and February for two reasons. The biggest one being the leaf off. We don't want leaves on trees so that we can get the best imagery we can. And we also have to find that no snow, no leaf, and Fort Riley give us the okay to fly. So those three combinations are a unique piece that we deal with that a lot of others do not.
Can those drones fly in like sub-zero type temperatures and stuff?
Well, they don't use drones when they fly the imagery. It's you guys in a plane and
Okay, they've never been waiting.
they do that. But they got to fly at about 3,000 or 4,000 feet. So they have to make sure, especially with Fort Riley, to get special approval and when it is. And sometimes they give them you get these number of hours on this day, and that's it. And it's like, we've heard them say we have the plane in the air flying that way, watching the watch, and it's like, now we can go. Like
The Blackhawks fall on them.
I would suspect there's somebody sitting over there looking at them. Yeah, it would be a little bit of an eerie feeling to know that. I'm probably under the watchful eye over there. But I'll be coming to you here. Could be as early as next week to discuss that and move forward with it. That's all I've got. Any other questions, comments for me? All right. Appreciate all of your support for our departments. It's a pleasure to work with you, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next commissioner, Brett Clark at 9:50.
Yeah. Really sharp.
Yeah, I prefer print anyway.
Right color, that's for you. I think they're a little pretty around here. On the badge, but it's just good. Trying to get Rich to get us some shirts for
What's that?
decades. I said I really like his shirt for community corrections.
You have any openings?
Actually, since you mentioned.
$90 out there already?
It's a little crazy for the end of September. You know, we went camping on Saturday and I was pretty glad to have that camper in the middle of the afternoon when I had to take it out with Elijah. It was hot in the tent.
Yeah. Ready, commissioners?
All right, thanks, guys. My name is Brett Clark with Riley County Community Corrections. I'm a detention supervision officer. Unfortunately, Shelley couldn't make it here today. She's actually up in Kansas City at a director's meeting, so she asked me to come here today to provide a little update and some background information on some of the things we got going on. I'm sure you guys probably are aware, we did apply for the Kansas Fights Addiction, the KFA grant, kind of opioid money that's out there. And on August 25th, this year, we were informed that we were awarded the full request of $200,000, which is awesome. You also might be aware we were one of the 35 agencies across the state awarded money recovered by the Kansas Attorney General's office through the opioid legal settlement. So we're super excited about that. Within the first round of funding, because we know we'll be able to show results, we hope can go to great use for our agency and for the people in the community around here. In Kansas, they're going to receive more than $340 million over the next 18 years. So we have collaborated with the health department and Pawnee Mental Health to use the KFA grant funds. And the plan is to kind of expand the access to treatment for both our drug court clients and our non-drug court clients, especially for those that are uninsured or underinsured. And to be quite honest with you, doing this for 22 years, that's 99% of our clients. So a lot of them need assistance and help, and it's very tough to give them that. So with this grant, we're going to be able to provide some of that help and resources for our clients. Also, it's going to go for funding for transportation to and from our medicated assistant treatment providers appointments. Obviously, the cost for those appointments and cost for those MAT prescriptions, which is vital. I have some that currently are using the MAT program, and it has been a lifesaver, to be quite honest. Also, we'll look at to have some of that funding for our peer mentor positions, which is a self-disclosed individual who is in recovery from substance abuse use. Also, it's going to go towards expanding recovery, housing options, obviously sober living, environments where they can go stay and be at, which is another important piece to recovery. And then we'll also be getting some of the Narcan, so we can distribute that to our clients that are fighting that addiction and fighting that demon, and that's a big piece to it as well. So more than likely, you have already agreed to release any claims by joining the Attorney General in the state's litigation. However, as an official receiving the grant funds, we are required to sign the agreements release and to sign claims to the Kansas Attorney General. Again, I can't stress how excited personally I am for this grant. You know, being in this profession for as long as I have, you can imagine the things I've seen and the things I've had to deal with. And to be quite honest, in the last 12, 18 months, I have seen more overdoses in that period of time than I have in my whole career. And quite honestly, I thinking back to the last 6 months, I can think of past clients and unfortunately current clients that have overdosed and passed away, and I can count at least 5 on my hand right now. So we know this grant will go to the 50 used very well for our agency and for our population. So hopefully we can get that up and running. The second topic I'm here to kind of talk about is a little bit about the drug court. As you guys probably remember, we applied for the Bureau of Justice Assistance BJA grant, and we were awarded that 4-year grant at $500,000 back in December of 2021. As you guys probably recall, we just got drug court up and running about 1.5 years ago, and it's awesome. It's going great. So we're super excited about that. So we're currently starting the 3rd of our 4 years on the BJA drug court federal grant here on October 1st. We're finally ready to hire additional staff after kind of manning and managing everything with our current existing staff for the last 18 months, which I'm very excited about because I've been providing all the supervision for all the drug court clients and then keeping my original caseload as well. So another officer would be greatly appreciated and could be very helpful for us. So we had staff budgeted for this in this grant for all 4 years. However, we need time to kind of evaluate the work and kind of workload and overall needs and you know it's growing. Drug court's growing. We're a little over 20 participants now, and we got more coming in about every week. So that are eligible to come in. We just need the staffing to be able to accept them in. So we're requesting permission to utilize the BJA federal grant funds to hire an intensive supervision officer. Shelley did write in an average of 9% increase of COLAs and merits for each year of the grant. Additionally, Shelley has created a funding plan to kind of sustain drug court, and she advised, it looks like in the packets, it's on page 18 and 19. If you haven't seen it, with drug court funding, that's kind of your drug court funding plan. The plan includes sources of grant funds, the dates to publish, the due dates, the links, what to apply for. It even includes if the source of funding applies to the entire judicial district or just Riley County or just Clay County. I know this is something Shelley's been working on a ton for months. And I know she's super happy and super surprised with the results. Again, with drug court, the way it's growing and the way it's currently succeeding, it's been a great start to this new program. Again, 1.5 years. Coming up here in November, I've got 4 more clients that's going to be completing the program successfully. Since we started 1.5 years ago, we only had 1 that did not complete the program successfully. So far, a wonderful start to it. I'm seeing wonderful results with it. So again, we're just asking and recommending the commission to approve the new full-time intensive supervision officer for drug court. I believe that's all I have. At least that's all Shelley asked me to talk about.
Probably need to go back to the first one and do a separate motion on that.
Yeah, correct. Do a motion on that first one and then we'll do the motion on the second one.
Okay. Question on the second one. That's a grant that covers that for 4 years, is that right?
Yes, it's a 4-year grant. Just make sure I'm ready for the right thing here. Yeah, that's our BJA grant, and grants for 4 years, correct?
I'm maybe not reading it right. That's going to cover the position entirely over that time,
Yes,
even with kind of a half year at the end being configured into that.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It covers the position for the entire time. However, because this is a long-term position, fully benefit eligible, it does not automatically just end when the grant funding ends. You have a permanent position that you will then have to come back and say, okay, because of grant funding. So it doesn't have an end date.
Yeah.
So that is something I wanted to make sure you all understand. I mean, it does state it's grant funded, but that does not necessarily, it doesn't take the purview away that this job will not end. You have to make the decision at that point. And with, community corrections leadership and whether or not they continue to need it even, or if they got another plan by then, so.
And that's what I'm thinking 4 years out is kind of a long ways to sit here today and make that determination. I'd like to maybe see that be more of come back to it in 2 years.
Oh, we can discuss it at any point. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I would recommend not making the job with an end date because it does change like the classification. So we've really determined what the grant funds and the time frame of it. It's got to be a permanent job with full benefits. But permanent jobs are always up to your discretion. So, I mean, it's a rate that, we can use the word permanent job until you no longer fund it.
I think that is, we don't want to hear about it. It ends tomorrow. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
We need to know.
Ahead of time,
Year
yeah.
ahead of time.
So I'd like to see what this particular position does in that equation because drug court right now is still, and not just for us, just in general, still kind of a relatively new thing. And we're seeing a lot of success with it here and elsewhere, don't get me wrong, but I'd like to reevaluate that well in advance of 4 years, come back to it in like 2 with that plan in mind.
So Brent, that's something we need to write down, and then Shelley, you and I can talk about. We had a system that we're trying to get on the ground of grant funded projects that we can report to the commissioners on a regular basis. We haven't done it before, but it will help us get organized and communicate better. And that's not specific to community corrections, it's just across the board. Yeah.
You just seen, across the board that when these grants come up due, it's snap of your fingers. We got to make a decision quick, and
Yeah,
we need to get out in front of that and really see how things in many different departments with business is working.
And it'll help report on your achievements in that position as well, and what's upcoming and what you're trying to achieve. So it'll help the commissioners get it really succinct on what that job is.
And it helps the public understand what's going on with that as well. And this is kind of one of those that's kind of important in that equation. So. There was no questions on the first one?
no,
Okay. We'll come back to it, I guess, first. So do I make a motion to approve and assign the agreement to release and assign claims by the Kansas Fights Addiction Act grant awardee to Kansas Attorney General as required by accepting these grant funds?
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to approve and sign the agreement to release and assign claims by the Kansas Fights Addiction Act grant awardee to the Kansas Attorney General as required. All in favor? Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Should we add that to your equation to the motion?
No, I don't think so
I think you
necessarily.
give like the expectation.
For me, it is.
I mean, that's what I don't think you have to state it because you've already made it clear to us about what you want. In my opinion, I mean, I'm clear on it.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah. You need reporting, and then you need to give us feedback as we develop that this is getting you the right information. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please.
Next motion?
I make a motion to approve a new FTE intensive supervision officer within Riley County Community Corrections to be assigned to drug court and to be paid with BJA federal grant funds.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the new FTE and intensive supervision officer within the Riley County Community Corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All three sign, please.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Jeffy. Hopefully some information back on that position.
Good. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Next commissioner, you have Craig Cox at 10:05.
Yeah, moving right along.
Imagine why you're all smiles over there, Craig. You got it down on an hourly and second time clock now, don't you?
I really don't. For quite some time, people have said that my count the days, and I really counted the weeks, but now that I'm looking at this week, I'm counting the days, and I haven't got to that.
Okay.
The hour will be tomorrow.
Okay.
It's too hard to figure all those stuff.
Where you wear that outfit you had on in the picture that Vivian sent out?
Oh,
With the hat.
I don't, I had to borrow some of that. So
Oh.
I don't have the vest anymore.
Oh, okay.
How did we not get a bow tie on the last commission meeting?
Okay.
Yeah,
You
no
know,
kidding.
You're known for that.
Well, I'm gonna
He
wear.
ties it to a
I'm
bow
gonna-
tie.
I'm gonna wear a bow tie tomorrow, but you're right, I could have worn one, this is the last
You're-
commission meeting.
Classically known for that.
Yeah.
4.5 years.
You're one of the few that pull that off really well.
Oh,
I can.
I mean, just to promote bow ties, I mean, really a bow tie really gives you a whole different sense of feeling during the day, you know, and I mean, it's really true that when I wear a bow tie, and I got maybe 8 months out, you know, like that, I go, where's my tie? Oh.
But I started getting clipped. I was just used to it hitting me in the face.
But yeah, but it's good to wear a bow tie when you eat out because it's hard to get food on.
Yeah.
You know.
That's good. I like
And on that note.
It's 10:05.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
That's fine. Good morning, Commissioners, Craig Cox, the soon to be retired deputy county council. What I have before you today, and I have to apologize, this came probably in July, and there was a notice in this form. It's about a class action settlement that class action case that's being taken against this PACER system, which is the federal court reporting system that attorneys use. You know, I use it to file bankruptcy cases because bankruptcy is a federal proceeding. We file all our bankruptcy claims using PACER. I can get on PACER and track the case, and PACER is a real wonderful system. Better than what the state has, because I can get into any case in the United States, a bankruptcy case, and look at what's going on. We actually filed a claim in a Utah bankruptcy court here a couple of weeks ago, and I can get it and track the status of that claim. So the system's good, but the class action lawsuit is that this the federal government's been sued that they have overcharged for that service. If I get in and look at a bankruptcy case, they charge you by how many pages you look at, and so the notice I have attached to the car is a notice that the parties have agreed to a settlement. Now, haven't seen the terms and conditions of that settlement, but what this notice was that we had till August 2020th to opt out of the class action if we wanted to take our own action against the federal government. And I didn't think that was not going to be my recommendation prior to August 20th. I discovered this on my desk just here last meeting. And so I did want to give the commissioners notice that we will be getting some settlement funds. I'll give Shelley the file, and so she could be up to date on that. We did not opt out as of August 20th, and we'll see how much we get, but we have to stay in because we did the time frame that's being looked at is May 22nd of 2016 to May 18, 2018. We were involved in a major bankruptcy case with an individual that had a lot of mobile homes in Ogden at one time. And we did a lot of work in that case. It was filed in Wichita. We drove down there a number of times for the hearings, and we got good results from that. And so we probably did use PACER quite a bit, and we paid some fees. It's a quarterly billing, and it's a line item budget in our budget. And probably the highest quarterly bill we ever had was probably like $150. But anyway, it's good to get some reimbursement if we have a right to it. So I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on this because there'll be some amount of money coming our way sometime in the near future. Any questions about that?
Cross that bridge when we get to it.
Okay. Well, as Commissioner Ford has so aptly put it, this is my last appearance on a commission day, and I will say I've enjoyed working for the county, working for the commissioners. I will tell you a little story about my very first commission day. It was August 6th, and Clancy wanted me to come down and watch a commission meeting, so I did. And the commissioners were Bob Newsom, Alan Johnson, and Alvin Johnson, and Mike Kearns. And so I was sitting there, and then this guy came and said, "I was kind of like a farmer, you know," and at a certain time in the meeting, he started complaining about Leslie Lane, which knows who that is. That's Mel Vanderstep. And so he went on, and they kind of dealt with that, and not to his satisfaction. And when he wasn't satisfied, he turned to me and said, "Well, you know, because he heard that I was introduced as the new assistant county counselor," turned to me and wanted my opinion. And Clancy had this just look of a gas. And I said, "Well, this is my first day. I don't know anything about it, so I don't have an opinion." And he just had a big sigh of relief. So I met Mel Vanderstone the very first day I was here.
So you've got to end this the same way that you came into it. So you've got to do something that would, I guess, put a deer in the headlights look on Shelley's face.
I don't think you can at this point.
Well, hey, we got animal control yet later this morning, so maybe I.
Very good, very good, very good.
But I've enjoyed working here. Raleigh County is just an amazing organization with good people, and I've enjoyed every staff member I've worked with, and the staff is highly competent and commission, and they, you know, reflect the competence of the commission. So thank you very much for letting me work here for as long as I have.
Well, good luck to your future endeavors. I'm sure you've got a long list.
I'm sure.
It's not Friday yet. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for all you've done, Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
Next, commissioners, you have Anna Burson at 10:20.
I didn't know that about bow ties, but I'm not a tie person, so.
If you ever start wearing them, that's how you keep lunch off of your tie.
That's good to know. I'll put that in the memory bank somewhere.
When I was in the army, we had Alaska that kind of ties.
Yeah,
For our dress and process.
I don't think I could tie them. I mean, looking in a mirror and I think that'd be very.
Yes, thankfully, those were not tied. It had like a snap.
Yeah.
Because I think they knew us well enough to know that we weren't smart enough to tie those.
I have some bow ties at home, but
As a kid, we had clip on one.
yeah, I got a couple of those too. But
Yeah, I can't even tie a regular tie.
I'm used to time. Yeah, usually, but every once in a while, every once in a while, in the morning. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, and all of a sudden to get it, and this is up here, and this is down here, or this is put
the whole length thing, yeah.
just can't get it.
I've got a couple of ties that no matter how hard I just give up on it. It's first try is where it's gonna land.
Yeah, allergies, my eyes. What's good? Days. You got things. Wow.
My dad get it. I have to be 90 seconds. When he called me, we took our three different groups to that file. And it's just accepted. I'm 19 and it's not a huge file, so why they keep. Yeah, it is. It's a box rejection and whatever business email he has set up, it's just a lot of plans. So I'll do it again after this commission meeting, but I think that the last bit of the supporting document is completely outside of our knowledge, so our the accuracy of all, but just trading purchase price still below where it should be, so.
Good.
Oh.
My body was saying to get back into the gym, it would come.
Uh-oh, been avoiding it.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a little break here. Get back on. I guess K-State got their enrollment numbers. We're at a healthy 23.
You see that Manhattan's actually down.
I'm trying to figure out how they came up with the formula to base that off of.
And that's 23 students at K-State.
Total, but that's all three campuses. And the big Salina had a big increase.
Yeah.
Manhattan and Slate had a decrease.
I assume.
Actually, considering you're going the other direction for
True, that's
All the other universities, with the exception of KU, are down too. KU, yeah.
6%.
And I didn't see the breakdown on that stuff. My guess is that's probably grad and med school, probably.
I was
I
there.
guess.
Columbia State was down 13%.
All that. And for K-State, it's been trending. Yeah, it's been trending up.
Warriors had a lot of problems for a lot of years now.
Leadership.
There was rumor that it might be shutting down at one point in time. Oh, yeah.
There are some school districts and stuff.
Yeah.
700, I think, if that number's.
Yeah, I remember.
Really?
It's amazing to me how large a high school is.
I don't recognize it anymore. I graduated. there myself.
2,000
Yeah.
students.
We had about 1,600 when I was there, but we were still, then we were like number 3. A couple of years over there, we were 4 and 6 and 5 on the list.
Jeez.
We've enlarged and we've actually enlarged population.
Wichita schools are ones that,
But yeah, and Kansas City, Johnson County Metro, County District over there.
they keep adding schools, Wichita doesn't have
Does,
that.
I know.
They're-
Except for Derby.
Yeah, it's the ones.
Yeah, the only exception there.
That's unreal to me how big that high school is. Or some small town Kansas kid.
When I graduated, our class was actually the largest. I think it was 457.
Ours was small, it was under 600. Because we had 2003 rates. On those values, you say it's supposed to be 7 to 8 values.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? One big reason. Not everyone's buying at Frag.
No, that's true.
There's what?
Not everyone's buying at Frag. and they're not making any more of it.
Yeah. Well. Well, I don't know. Look at that, I think. You're not buying it for agriculture, then. We have another problem.
Changing times.
Yeah.
Changing times.
I was looking at the oil and gas ones there.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that. Oil and gas, is that the leases or?
Might be part of it.
Does that mean the leases or on the oil and gas or land?
That's the value of those
Commodities.
It's not
land that has oil and
land,
gas on it.
it's like the lease, probably the leases.
And
Or ownership.
you ready for Ann?
Yeah, okay.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Sorry.
I'm going to, staff report I have for you, or staff update that I have for you guys. I did call it office report. It's a staff update. I selected the wrong one. So staff update, office report, I think is one and the same. I don't have a lot of new information, but I can touch on the maps that you guys have been referring to this morning. So first and foremost, personal properties running those final reports. I believe that was taken down to the clerk's office yesterday, just noting added and removed personal property value between June and October. The 72 personal property manufactured homes that had small claims appeals but were incorrectly docketed have now been redocketed, but they've not yet been scheduled. And so we're anticipating those appeals will likely be heard at the end of October, possibly beginning of November. On the ag side, our ag appraiser is continuing sales validation, ag use review, and training on residential data collection. On the residential side, sales validation and annual review continue. We are just over 96% complete on the annual review phase and wrapping up the photo project on parcels that were digitally reviewed. There have been 873 sales recorded, of which 771 residential properties. The median sale price is currently at $236,000, which again is no change from the last update. And our current residential sale ratio remains at the 95%. There are 272 building permits, 40 of which are new dwellings. And there is currently one outstanding small claims hearing that's scheduled. Is being rescheduled relating to 2023 valuation. And we also have the one full Board of Tax Appeals hearing scheduled for October 19th relating to 2023 valuation. Residential market analysis is underway, and we are updating data collection procedures, and training continues and will continue over the course of the next few years. On the commercial side, I have attached the commercial voter case spreadsheet, and there are no notable changes since our last update. A couple things just to mention. The Home Depot case is still on for October 17th and 18th. The 19th is that residential full board hearing. And so those ones are upcoming. And so we will be in Topeka for those. Additionally, the other vacant and residential properties, 8 of those are being dismissed. They're in the process of the dismissal, and one of those is in the process of a stipulation. So value adjustment based on considering additional information. And so you eventually will see that information change on here as well. So that list is dwindling, and we're thankful for that. Our commercial analyst has continued our neighborhood and land depreciation analysis and continues to prepare. He's completed neighborhood and land depreciation analysis as well. He continues to prepare for those upcoming voting hearings. And there, as I said, there are those remaining cases that are scheduled. Tenant interviews are being conducted and should be wrapped up in the next few weeks. And quality control of commercial processes and data collection is underway. Just as a piece of information, next week, myself, Danny, and one of our other staff members will be in class all week long. I will have limited access to email, but I will be checking email. So if something comes up, please reach out to me. I wanted to go ahead, and there's been a lot of mention of the maps that you guys were talking about this morning. I want to point out just a couple things. When you're looking at total value change, November 2022 to July 2023, one really big piece that gets lost in here is we had over $50 million of property in Riley County that was exempt go back on the tax roll. And some of that we have not received applications on, some of them have pending go to dockets. And so that is going to skew that total valuation increase. I tried to do some calculations before I got over here, and I do believe we fall more in that 6 to 9.99% increase range if that was not included in this total valuation increase figure. On agricultural land values, that is related to ag use. Kansas is a use value on that agricultural land. And so one of the things that we saw this year with agricultural land is your grassland went up and other areas kind of went down. And so, yes, we saw an increase in ag land. It wasn't across the board. And so some of the other ones, there's not a whole lot of oil and gas. I think it's only an oil lease, a couple oil leases here around the county, but it's related to production. It's all about the production and how those are producing. Again, there's a very clear guideline from the state on how that's all calculated. There's no wiggle room in it. It's a formula. We get that production information, it gets plugged into a formula, calculated out, and so that's where that is coming from. And was there any other questions kind of regarding that, those maps that you guys were talking about? I apologize, I did not see those until I stepped out. So once I took a look at them, I was able to do a little more digging and provide you with just a little bit more information on those.
It's just a couple of things I noticed. There's a kind of, it's not necessarily just the large counties or middle counties or small counties. I mean, it's really just kind of the up and down ebbs and flows. And I found it interesting how most of the population centers in Kansas, it's not that county that saw the most of the increase. It's the outlying counties off of there. So it's like a Butler County, a Harvey County, a Cali County, and in and around Sedgwick County and Johnson County, the same thing. And even here with Pottawatomie and Wabaunsee County.
A lot of times it can have to do not just with what the market is doing, but in how the values were actually selected. If, like in a prior year, we were too soft on our valuation, the market may be trending at 10%, but it's going to take an increase of 13% to get us in line with market. And so that's kind of what can happen where, if the values are being brought up with market as close to market year over year, then when we see a market that goes up 10%, well, if you're already at market, they may just see that 10%. But if we've been valuing, if an office is valuing below market, and then we go up 10%, well, it's going to take a bigger increase to get those values in line with what market's doing and get them into compliance. Because we are tasked with market value. We want to be, within a certain percentage of those sale prices by statute. And so if we're not, or if they're not and they're far out, then some of them it's going to take a little bit bigger increase to get them there. And so it's not just about the sales. The sales do dictate what market's doing, but if they've never been at market value year over year, then unfortunately a 10% market increase actually could be 15 to 20 if they've been below market for a long period of time.
So that theory in mind moving forward would suggest that if you brought yourself up to market value next year, the following year, maybe the following year, that trend should move up much more than a few percentage.
The trend, you can definitely say that once you get closer to market, if that market is stabilizing or you're not seeing these huge increases, yes, you could anticipate a much lower overall. Now, countywide, that may not be the case because you could have one market area within the county that's still extremely high year over year. But for the most part, you could see that more stabilized at 3 to 4% people talk about regularly. But it's important that if that's what the market's doing, we're following it and bringing them up every year, that 3 to 4%. Because if we're not, then we have a crazy increase year. It's not just that 3 to 4, it's 14 or greater. And so that's part of why when we say the trend is this, but not everybody is going to go up at that same rate because a lot of it depends on where they were valued in that prior year. Were they at market? If they weren't at market, they may see greater than that. if they were in market, they may not even see that full 13%, which is kind of when you look at that residential, the residential map. Well, the total value increase on residential, it looks like it was reported about 12.8. Well, that's also considering new construction. So even though that trend was kind of that 13.3, but not everybody went up that. Not everybody went up at all. Some went down. And so there's a lot of factors in this. We're required to report some statistical information. Always open to any questions about it, but that's part of that why in the end, really, we didn't go up on a residential 13.31.
Residential here would also include investment property, correct?
If it's residential classification, so yes, it could be some of those, the apartments are residentially listed, so. And
What's the
assessed.
size? Look at the size that's considered residential versus commercial.
As far as
I thought there was a
commercial,
number of apartments.
right, 5 units, greater than 5 units is a commercial property,
Okay.
but it's still, the assessment rate is the 11.5%. So it's probably reflecting actually in that commercial valuation increase, but the assessment rate is the 11.5% because it's a residential dwelling. Yeah, people are living there, so they're assessed differently, but it is in the actual commercial reporting. It is in the commercial. The only ones that are going to show up on the residential side are your twin homes, your those converted dwellings, because they're they're 1 units to 5 units, and so that's where those are going to fall in that report. So I apologize, but
Not mistaken, the city has that zone where it can't be over 5 persons living at that dwelling.
in a dwelling. I'm not sure what the zoning requirements are.
Yes.
Except that area. That's
correct.
That it.
They rezone that differently, so you have, the
So hopefully that
investment
helps.
property here represents about 53, any given year, about 53 to 57% of the equation, so give or take.
So any of those that are 5 units or fewer are going to be reported on that residential side, unless it's, one commercial property owner owns a whole bunch of them in a section. It could be that it's on commercial.
You have to put that like in an LLC or something to do that, wouldn't you?
Not have to. You have it in your own name.
That was legally.
Just wanted to kind of clarify that for you guys a little bit. I knew there were some questions, so I appreciate Rich's staff getting me those maps pretty quickly so I could be prepared for my staff update. So again, I came earlier just because I am in class next week and I wanted to give you guys that update. Similar situation, I believe in December as well. So you'll either get it earlier or a little bit later. Any other questions or concerns?
Got a lot of concerns, but it's not your fault.
That's just it though. What Anna's talking about is everyone sees 12 or 13% and they generalize that. You can't generalize it. There are so many independent factors that make it move,
Yes.
and from one county within one county. But then when you're comparing another county, one county's what she was saying could have had a compliance of 90%. So they're trying to catch up at least 5% from being behind, where a county that was at 100% knows they're pretty much on market. So they don't got to change as much. And so you can have a 50% swing, but it was from previous misvalues. So it's just, you can't, that map does not show apples to apples comparisons.
Well, and the other thing as we take into equation is we're still kind of feeling the aftermaths of, a buying and seller's market during COVID that was just insane. Where, a $250,000 house was being purchased shock value at 320 or 325,000, and that's obviously going to change the formula in the process drastically.
But projections are that's probably going to happen because construction went bloop, inventory's down, price goes up.
That's right.
Again.
That's a big problem.
Basic economics.
Yeah, very low supply. So as far as like those purchase prices, we're pretty, we're not seeing a dip.
No.
We're not seeing that. We're seeing
If interest rates
a little bit of a level at this point.
Yes.
Interest rates.
If they go down, watch prices.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So again, just we pay attention. We're looking at that trend, and so far it's not anything like it did last year. So I can tell you that so far. I'll have more information as we finalize things. Anything else? Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Ann, appreciate it. Next, Commissioner, you have Shelley Woodard at 10:35.
So John LLC is essentially just for liability purposes. You don't have to form your business into an LLC, but if you want to protect your assets.
I'd be a pretty big asset.
So
Sure.
Well, we don't have a lot to talk about, but I did want to talk briefly about animal control. I think everybody might have gotten some emails this week and there were some questions on that. Just kind of let you know where we're at and what we're doing on that front. So as you know, that's a project that Craig has been working on for a while. I'm taking over all of Craig's files. That's been a bit of a process. We pretty much completed that as of earlier this week or late last week. We got my hands on all the rest of Craig's files. I talked to one of the attorneys in the city's attorney's office about a month or so ago and got some information from her that I've been going through. And essentially what I'm doing now is I got the rest of the Craig's files recently. And the next step is I'm reviewing the proposed resolution to make sure, because I believe it was a board or some sort of group that got together and looked at things. And so my goal is to not upset that too much since there was a lot of input that went in there. I'm just going to make sure everything looks good and current and there haven't been any changes that we can address. And I don't think it's going to take you very long to finish that process, but again, I'm just trying to move things from Craig to me, and so that's taking some time. And then we can report back if that resolution wants to go ahead and continue that. And so I'm hoping that will be in the next month or two. Is kind of where we're at.
This conversation is actually two parts. This is a resolution. I think the only difference in the resolution is we're defining animal control as behavior, whereas the city's doing it by
some breed types and such. Yes. And so there's a little bit of a difference there. There may be one other small difference. And then there's a section on administrative warrants that was changing on it's different for us than the city. And then there's what we're not prepared to talk about right now is potential contracts. Right. Okay. So that is not something that I've had the chance to really discuss with the city and that we, there's whole drafts and stuff out there, but that's kind of probably a process that we're not at this point really ready to discuss. But we'll be coming to you, hopefully in the next month or two with the resolution. From there as far as next steps, and I'll be working with the city in the meantime and trying to get their input and how they want to move forward and see if that how that meshes with what the county wants to do, and then you guys ultimately will get to make the decisions on how that is.
I don't think it probably will. How does it work now that they're going to be contracting services for the actual shelter?
That's one of the questions that we have. And so we have to determine who we're contracting with. Are we contracting directly with the city? Because technically it's still their shelter, or do we need to contract with Prairie Paws because they're running the shelter? Or is it a combination thereof, right? Is it, who all needs to sign up? So that's a new question that obviously just came up, which is what kind of this conversation. And I don't have an answer to that yet, because that's a required conversation with the city. And possibly I have to see the agreement that they have with Prairie Paws to see who's responsible for that. It may be twofold. It may be an agreement with the city for certain services, and it may be an agreement with Prairie Paws for certain services. But again, I don't have an answer to that yet. So that will be forthcoming once I've had a chance to spend some more time with them and talk to the city again. Craig has anything to add? He was here in case you had any historical questions. Let's see if I've been working on it for a long time. But
pretty much your entire time here almost, didn't it?
Staff is not an uncommon thing. So the last county I was at, I was trying to update their animal control stuff as well, and the way they did it was, you know, every county's a little bit different and everybody does it a little bit differently, but it's, you know, and when I was in law school, I interned in the city, we were dealing with it in the city. It seems to be a, you know, an ongoing forever issue. And, you know, and things change, right? Because as you talked about, the city has breed restrictions, we have behavior restrictions. Breed restrictions were really, really popular here for a long time. They're starting to fade, you know, there's been a push across the country to remove breed restrictions. It'll be interesting, but that seems to be some of the swings. I bet you in 20 or 30 years, you may start seeing questions on maybe we should have breed restrictions for adjustment. So I think this is one of those issues that never fully goes to that. So, did you have any other questions on that I might be able to answer, or things that I can find out for you? So now I believe that we may be putting together a card and speaking with you again later in October, maybe more in detail about where we're at. And hopefully by then I will have a bit more review on that resolution, and I hope I had another conversation. That's kind of is to keep this moving forwards. We just need to make some final decisions on that.
Yep.
That's all I have. Do you have any other questions or anything I would have to this that I might be able to? Happy to answer questions. Or tell you that I don't know it and either blame Craig or defer to class. Do either of those.
I don't know if you can really do that until Monday, though, right?
I mean, I don't do my phone things for here.
Oh, okay.
It will be Craig's fault for a long time. Unless you're happy and then it's 100% my fault.
Oh.
So.
Craig's just going, I don't care.
Not my problem.
I don't care.
Okay, commissioners, next you have Julie Gibbs at 10:50. Have a bit of a break.
No, Julie? These ones that Western can't. Looks like 25% in 1 year. Of course, all kind of feels that, like that might have been one she was saying, they had never caught up and then finally needed to get caught up. Those are also probably towns that don't have very large levies overall too, so the property tax increases and try to. Good morning, Julie.
Morning. It's outside, it's nice outside.
This was up to like 95 or something today.
Through the weekend.
Rest of the week. And weekend and Mondays, 90.
But then
Summer's not bad.
Tuesday, Wednesday, how about? Cool
Snow, right?
Oh, especially the rain part.
Well, that'd be good. We need rain.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll start by making a motion that we recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health.
Second,
So moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Commission and reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor? Aye.
All right, good morning, commissioners. Julie Gibbs with the Health Department. I have two things for you this morning. So one is a new position request. We were awarded funds through KDHE for the All Hands on Deck grant. So DEC is another acronym. It stands for Drug Endangered Children of Kansas. Total amount is $130,000 over 2 years. So this was awarded to us and the grant will start on October 1 and will end on September of 2025. It's intended to hire a part-time coordinator to start a coalition, which will be an arm now of the Substance Use Task Force to serve drug endangered children. The funds will also pay for travel to meetings, which they'll be required to go to in Washington, D.C., and that was a request of the grant. Supplies and travel to conferences in Kansas and also care bags. So I did attach the grant for more details on what the care bags would consist of, but that was something that was in the grant as far as providing those for children who are affected by drugs or maybe taken out of the home due to the situation that they're in. This part-time coordinator will coordinate with the Drug Endangered Children Coalition and activities associated with the coalition. And again, this will be an arm of the Substance Use Task Force. They'll work closely with the community health educator who is newly hired. She started on this past Monday. The maternal and child health program, child care licensing, school districts in Riley County, and the Department of Children and Families, law enforcement, and multiple healthcare agencies in the area to protect the safety of children. They'll also assist with campaigns directed toward protection of drug endangered children and will distribute educational information, which will already be provided to us. They will have to come up with that educational information. They'll also be responsible for providing training for professionals in the area that will work with this population on a daily basis. So the salary benefits as well as travel and supplies are all included, and I put them into the grant. So there's no cost to the county, and this will be for 2 years. I did provide a list of what this individual will be doing compared to what the community health educator is doing, so you can see side by side how different they are. Again, this would be an arm of the Substance Use Task Force, so they would work closely with the community health educator, but they would be doing more of an assessment, kind of the groundwork to really form this coalition. So they'll be doing an assessment of the community, develop the coalition, partner with other programs and coalitions to share information and data across the board, provide research and other educational materials to healthcare professionals, and assist with media campaigns. Whereas the community health educator will be doing more work in the school directly on prevention, opioid prevention. I also provided you with the grant and also with the position description.
So much like our last discussion on a new position, this isn't considered a permanent. So once the grant's done, it's basically done.
You scroll down to the job description, please. That's correct. Okay, so now this position does have an end date because we know we have a specific end date. So this position is considered part-time and temporary. So we got this in from December 22nd, which is the start of our 2024 payroll year, through December 20th, 2025.
Right. Okay.
So this position, unless you deserve to continue it, will have an end date.
And that's probably a question I would revert back to Julie. You know, if that's something that you see feasible, I would say that we need to come back and revisit that maybe in that year time scope and see what that following year would be, and then what our goal would be outside of that. I don't think most of these particular challenges and issues that we're doing this for is going to go away.
Right.
After that 2 years.
to you.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'd be nice. If I've learned anything in 4.5 years here, very little salt right up front. So if that's something that we're visualizing, let's get out in front of it and figure out how we work towards getting past that end.
And the big difference between some of these jobs, and I'm talking to Julie and the other ones, is that if we reasonably think the job will continue, that we reasonably think they'll be funding, for example, Raising Riley is grant,
Right.
but we have reasonably that will continue, and that's really a permanent job with benefits. And that's kind of how we have to treat that person, to give them benefits, because That's an ongoing position we reasonably think. So if we find we change and we say, okay, this is something Riley County is now going to fund, we then transition that to a permanent position. Or if for some reason we learn that the grants are, we have reason to believe the grants would continue to benefit to us or likely.
Long list of duties and functions.
Mhm.
Lots to.
Yeah. Use his.
We kind of mentioned we had really wonderful candidates for the position that we just filled on Monday. So it gives us a lot of, it's a similar pay grade, it's similar purpose, right? Not necessarily the same focus of a client, but some of the same purpose. So we're hoping to have some really great candidates for this position as well. Potentially reach back to some of those.
Any further questions?
Like I said, I'd like to see us review that sometime towards the end of next year, just to see where we're at. Okay. I'll go ahead and recommend that the Board of County approve the part-time drug endangered children's coordinator position.
I'll second.
So moved and seconded that the Board of Health approve the part-time drug endangered children coordinator position. All in favor? Aye.
All three sign, please.
Yeah, and I'll keep you up to date on the progress of this, with monthly reports.
Thank you.
Next, one of the requests to fill the medical reserve corps unit leader. So as you may recall, we did receive the RISE award from NACHO or NACHO, however you wish to say that, a year ago. And that was to hire a part-time unit leader. At that time, it was Paulina Gatica who filled that position. And she did a nice job of really reviving the MRC to get more volunteers, to go through training. Just so we have those individuals ready for another public health candidate. But really, we can use them for a lot of other things we've learned for many activities that are ongoing at the health department and beyond. So we have a little over 20 volunteers so far, and we have more that I believe are ready to be looked at. But we need to fill this position for the unit leader. So they would continue doing what Paulina has started. So their main priority would be to recruit, train, and maintain volunteers as a part of that unit. They'll also be in charge of supplying equipment, keeping track of all of our inventory, collaborating with partners in the Wildcat region. This would be 23 hours per week. So it would be a part-time position, and this would be for 2 years as well. It would run through June of 2025. And I believe, I provided the job description for you as well.
Define for me, Julie, the Wildcat region again.
It's Gary, Potawatomi, and Riley County.
That's what I said.
So this would have the same region as the Appalachian unit.
Yes, yeah, and as Skylar has with her Wildcat duties.
So just to point out the difference on this job description, our time to be on grant funding. So in Skylar's work, it's been indicated to her that if this meets its goals and this position does a great job, there could be ongoing grant funding. So it is dependent on grant funding, but we expect it could be an ongoing position. And whereas when we filled it the first time, it had a very specific, very short time frame.
That's another one that we need to kind of track as we go along and see what we need and what we don't need. So.
And as you've seen, we don't always have timely responses from the grant funding, but they'll continue to apply for them and get,
So both of these go through 25, so we need to look at next year's budget. So,
okay.
will we know at that point if it would be refunded?
I hope so.
Do you have a crystal ball?
Yeah, I hope so. We have good communication now with the new individuals in charge of the MRC units. So hopefully we'll get some good communication. We'll continue that. So yeah, she's been very helpful. We just
You never know. Okay.
Yeah, this one's a little bit more murky, I guess.
Any other questions? Okay.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the part-time MRC unit leader position for Raleigh Medical Department.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the part-time MRC unit leader position for the health department. All in favor? Aye.
All three sign, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead and make a motion that we recess as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as the Board of County Commission.
Second.
So moved and seconded that we recess as the Board of County Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next, Commissioners, yeah, 11:10, you have an executive session with Shelley Wood. Shelley, how much time are you gonna want on this executive session?
20 minutes is not.
Mhm.
Do you think 20 minutes?
I expect that to be fine. Interesting watching the K-State Oklahoma State game on a Friday.
Yeah, I know. Told my wife that, she said, Friday, why are they doing a Friday?
And I guess a good thing there is, and even though it's at what, 6:30 start, 7 o'clock. I have to wake up and go to work the next day. So, I've got a whole lot of stuff going on that Saturday, and then I'm leaving on that Sunday, so.
I
Maybe it
prefer
works out.
6 o'clock start. Suits my bedtime better.
6 o'clock.
Even on a Friday?
Oh, yeah, for
Sure.
sure.
Don't stay up and get a little wild.
My internal clock still gets me up at 5,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
That's said to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a telling my wife, and she agrees, no matter what time we go to bed, we still get up at 5. So,
So,
yeah.
mom's and mine. Yes.
Yeah, I get up on Tuesday and Wednesdays at 4 and go to work at 5, and same thing applies on Mondays and Thursdays.
My wild party days are way in the rear view mirror.
Used to be party before.
Thank
Get
God.
a couple hours sleep. and go to work.
Been there, done that.
Way over.
Been there, done that.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want to do that.
No, that's not a healthy thing. But when you're
That's why they have those things called youth. Yeah.
younger, when you're younger, it's not so bad.
We're gonna do 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
There's a ribbon cutting at that, the newly renovated space.
Yeah.
Yeah, down there used to be the
Crumbs.
Crumbs.
Oh, what
It's
is
on,
that? Oh, they did a really good job.
They did an awesome job renovating that, giving that thing a second life.
CGN Advisors, fee only financial planning and investment management.
Fee only.
I saw
That's
that.
what it says, fee only.
That's interesting.
I saw that council for, but I couldn't figure out what that was. I forgot.
So maybe they
Where
don't.
it was.
Yeah, it's right, yeah. I
I
they've
have
given
seen
that.
that sign out there.
Yeah, they've given a report at the Westwood Business
Oh.
Association one time, but I couldn't remember what they did, so. They've done a great
A lot
job.
of the ribbon cuttings lately I've seen along the way. It's
Mhm.
a good sign. I told the guy with the cookie place this morning, I'm like, I told him, I said, yeah, cookies will always make you happy, particularly when you're judging them. He said, I didn't think of that.
Are you ready to eat cookies?
I am. Yeah, we're good.
More chocolate chips.
Maybe not chocolate chips. We'll try something different. I told him I might pick up a couple of dozen and take back home with me for Thanksgiving this year.
Where's that from?
I can't remember the name now.
Next to Target.
Yeah, it's next to Target up there.
Oh, Eileen's.
I leave.
Eileen's.
Or a couple of those big plate-sized cookies and
Oh,
cut
they're,
them into
yeah.
pie slices or something.
Oh, it's either that or pie.
Ready, commissioners?
So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move that the Board of Riley County Commissioners, including Chairwoman Boki, Vice Chair Ford, and Commissioner McKinley, along with Shelley Woodard, Deputy County Counselor, attorneys for the commission, recess into executive session pursuant to the preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property exceptions to the Kansas Open Meetings Act to discuss a potential offer or purchase. The open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 11:30. Rich Varga will also be present during the portion of the executive session to provide factual information.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to recess into executive session until 11:30. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Like,
And you were back.
she had no idea what I was talking about. It took a lot of explaining to her because she didn't know anything about any of that type of work, and I had to go to certain. Plus, she didn't, she's not used to septic systems or.
Go ahead and make a motion that the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
Second.
So moved and seconded that the Board of County Commissioners come out of the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also make a motion that consensus was reached in executive session as well.
A second.
So moved and seconded that the record reflect that consensus was reached in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's fine. I usually just give those back. I don't have to keep them or recycling, but.
Like sometimes we just.
Oh, okay.
The score this week,
Oh,
bye week.
How it was a bye week, yeah.
yeah.
Yay.
We can do a score on Kentucky, Florida.
Kentucky's doing good.
They're 4-0.
Oh, so is KU.
Not just said you were trying to be positive today.
She's
Today.
Florida.
Tired of listening to this stuff in the ends of the room.
We'll find out this weekend, but KU's always kind of had Texas's number. That's the funny
Oh,
thing. In recent, even when KU was horrible, they beat Texas. It'd be the only game they might win or get close to, but
KU's going to give them a handful on defense. I kind of expect a high scoring game.
no, we'll see. Yes. Colorado's going to find out what real football's like again this weekend.
Yeah.
Who are they playing?
USC number 5.
Oh, yes.
They appear to be somewhat banged up too, some key positions, which believe me makes it harder than makes it even harder. So,
Yeah, it does.
yeah, there'll be some good games on this weekend, for sure. Let's deal with the Seco Park. I don't know what the process is on the city county meeting, Rich. But I think maybe that's a good place. I mean, I know we're going to exclude Potawatomi County, but
Sure.
But you don't have 383.
and that's what could we do that? Can we schedule a meeting like that and just have USD 383 here in that discussion?
No, you can absolutely invite them.
Yeah, because they own more properties than the city.
But I mean, that's kind of why I suggested the intergovernmental for those guys, because the way everyone's talking, whatever we do, maybe K-State participates in this next move or not. With where we're going, if the county would go someplace other than Seco.
Right, but that's the point at the moment is we got to figure out as 3 entities what we're doing with it and how that works together before you even get to that point. So how do you get to that point?
And I know even the chamber's going to start getting involved in this.
Right.
Well, and we need to, I think since
And I can tell you right.
we're the biggest property owner, I think we ought to have more of a weighted vote than the other two.
Those are all discussions that you have to get to a point. And I will tell you right now,
There is a new discussion.
I have absolutely no desire to do the whole big agricultural complex thing or something.
The big event center.
Right.
Yeah.
If we're going to do that, we need to work with the university. And it became very, very clear earlier that nobody wanted to do that. And I'm not going to build another $50 million complex and center when you already have one that's going to compete with itself and add 10% more to our already total of county indebtedness. I'm just not willing to do that at this point. To me, we've got to figure out the fairground situation first.
Yeah, we do before.
Will it work? I mean, I look at our property that we own there and I think to myself, it's kind of an L. I get that. It's not the most ideal scenario, but somebody's got to be able to sit down and at least conceptually come up with something creative that makes that work, that adds some parking. You can look at Potroff Hall and see, does the renovations, even if there's some structural issues, does it outweigh the ability to build a new facility there, or which one of those you would need to do? I got to think that the steel, at least the steel shell of all the barns and stuff out there are good. You can tear off all the metal, you can bring in some electricity, you can maybe put a cantilever or two. I mean, I think there's still some things that you could do there that would make that work. Maybe not for 50 years, but for a solid 20 at least.
Make it part of your space needs
Right.
study
Space needs, but,
analysis.
You know, maybe, and this was told me that maybe the whole park needs to be kind of reconfigured. You know, do the ball fields need to be on that side? Can't they go to the other side? I mean, maybe there's a whole plan that could be reworked to that the park works better for everybody.
I thought, you have the two little picnic areas over there on the.
A lot of
south-
wasted space.
I know. Maybe you move those up closer to the playground, because if you think about it, if your family going out for a picnic,
Yeah, you like to have a playground.
and then that space, you could bring in some backfill and you could put parking there and reconfigure. I mean,
You
there's
can
a way to make it
reconfigure
work.
Yeah.
There is a way to make that work. And make it work for not just the next couple of years, but for a little longer term, maybe not forever.
Maybe
But
you could enlarge the.
I don't know how many people use that little exercise trail down there. And we've got plenty of new trails since that one was put in anyway, in that area. You can go out to Annenberg, you can go up to Hudson.
Minutes away.
You can walk all the way up and through Grand Mere, even though it's not technically a trail, but you could make it a trail if you wanted to. So there's a way to make all that work.
Yeah.
And we don't have to think outside of our own means to accomplish just that.
Yeah, and you're saying maybe you can make the rodeo arena bigger, and utilize some space that we've got over there more effectively in parking and all that. There's got to be a way to figure it out.
I think we got to get all three of the decision makers at the table some way. Soon. And I think that meeting might be a good way to just get us three together to talk, and
Yeah.
it'll find its path. It'll find its natural path to whatever it needs to be. I don't know that opinion.
It's the next topic of my monthly chamber meeting. I know, I've been told that already.
Well, I would like to say the governing bodies get together, not all.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
that meeting technically is.
Yeah,
So
us
I'm
and.
not purposely trying to exclude Potawatomi County from this particular discussion, but I think we need to have USD 383 there for sure.
Yeah, Eric.
And just dialogue and see where that goes.
School board members.
Really wanted to do.
Okay, go ahead and be preemptive and just put that on the
City county meeting, invite USD 383,
yeah.
Seco Park discussion.
Yeah.
Like I say, we can expand. South.
Yeah, we can
South of the
south.
parking lot, there's a lot of ground. I mean,
We have to maybe backfill and
maybe
change
a lot of people
field.
that, take off the sledding hill. I don't know how much.
Yeah.
We don't get any snow anymore, so it's kind of pointless.
There, yeah.
Yeah,
This place.
that would provide a lot of backfill, by the way. I don't know if that'd be popular.
Yeah.
Use that to level out that area pretty good.
And of course, that next winter is gonna be lots of
Of
snow.
course.
Boy, it sure would have been nice to have snow, hell.
What did I say they have? There's 89 acres over there and it's not being used well for a park for people. It's not being used well. And fairgrounds and all that. It should include the county because it's a county.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
That was a lot in a short amount of time. Okay, well, that's all I had. That's probably enough. I don't know, but that's all I had at least.
Greg, do you have any?
No.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Then I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adjourn the September 28th meeting of the Raleigh County Commission.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn the Raleigh County Commission meeting of September 28th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's gonna be October on Monday.
Oh, it is.
Sorry.